Welcome to this Cronkite News Update. I'm Abigail Verwick. Voting locations will be open starting October 7th. Locations for voting centers and ballot drop boxes can be found online at maricopa.gov. In the broadcast center, Abigail Verwick, Cronkite News. We have now surpassed 3 million coronavirus cases in the United States and more than 132,000 deaths, averaging about 51,000 new cases a day. 4th of July celebrations are going to look a little different this year due to COVID-19. We begin with breaking news. Arizona's count of known COVID-19 cases jumped again today. COVID-19 cases have significantly increased from yesterday. Baseball is back. All 30 teams have returned to their ballparks as they wait for the anticipated first game of the season. Finally, tonight we take you from the ball field to the NASA launch pad. An airplane with a mission. To bring much-needed supplies to the remote communities struggling with COVID-19 within the Navajo Nation. The Navajo Air Bridge program meets this need both on the ground and in the sky. It's how AirServe International and Navajo and Hopi Families COVID-19 Relief Fund have joined forces to distribute aid.
We knew early on that our communities lacked the infrastructure and the resources to protect themselves from the virus.
Weekly flights carry about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of donated cargo, consisting of basic necessities such as water, personal protection equipment, hygiene products, hand washing stations, and more. According to the Navajo Health Department, there are currently 8,912 positive COVID-19 cases. For months now, the coronavirus has hit this often overlooked population incredibly hard.
It's a real opportunity here to shine a light on the needs of Indigenous people here in the United States.
Organizers say this program is helping families receive the items they need without risking exposure to the virus in off-reservation stores.
The relief effort that we're providing is a quintessential example of, helping each other during a difficult time when communities really step up to help each other.
This program is currently serving over 18,000 households by delivering both tangible relief and some much-needed hope. In Phoenix, Abigail Verwick, Cronkite News. Saria El-Hibber is an ASU student who has collected donations to provide supplies for demonstrators. With the help of her friends and a call to action on social media, she has collected more than $800 to purchase essential items for those hitting the streets in protest. Items including safety equipment.
I wanted also everyone to be protected, and I didn't want anyone going out there not with the right supplies just in case stuff did go bad really fast.
Small packs with water and snacks have also been distributed at different stations prior to the start of the protest or during.
Everyone usually just carries them in their backpack, and they have a little sign that tells you that they have them. But that's so far. There's a lot of people at the protest that have them, which is really nice. It's really nice because then it feels more like a community because everyone's helping each other out.
These care packages are one way protesters are expressing solidarity with each other, no matter their circumstance.
Especially for those people that are not capable of actually protesting, it gives them a way to support.
For people who cannot hit the streets to protest because they have underlying health conditions and concerns over COVID-19, this is a way they can still show support. Donating masks and other essentials like bottled water or hand sanitizer makes them feel involved.
There's definitely a culture of we're here for this cause, but also we're here for each other too, and want to make sure everybody is doing okay and everyone is staying safe and everyone is healthy.
Please, mask up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want some water?
Water for now.
In Phoenix, Abigail Verwick, Cronkite News. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted everyone, with the refugee community being no exception. According to data from resettlement agencies, it is estimated that between 70 and 90% of refugees in Arizona have lost their jobs. Since refugees are not eligible for government relief, such as unemployment benefits, several local Arizona organizations are stepping up to bring them much-needed help.
We have almost 20 partners that are part of this initiative that really felt the need across the state to launch something like this. Because it isn't really established anywhere else at this time.
The International Rescue Committee, We Are All America, and several other Arizona groups have joined forces in creating the Arizona Refugee Emergency Fund. The goal is to provide emergency assistance for these families, including housing, childcare, food, and other basic needs.
Sometimes that might be given as a check to help pay for their rent. But it's for those emergency essential needs that families need: food, rent, childcare, to help keep them on their feet during this time.
Refugees like Bilal Al-Obaidi say it's a lifesaver in the most difficult times. He now works paying it forward, helping newer refugees get settled as best as possible in the midst of a pandemic.
I came to the United States as a refugee from Iraq. Now, as a U.S. citizen, I work to serve others in our community.
Historically, Arizona has been one of the most welcoming states to refugees, which is why, despite recent rulings by the Trump administration drastically reducing the number of refugees allowed into the country, advocates say helping those who do come in is more critical than ever.
We've had a bipartisan tradition of working together to make refugees welcome, of coming together across faith backgrounds to make refugees welcome. And in this time in which many refugee families have arrived in the U.S. fleeing persecution in their home countries, gotten their first job, and then been laid off because of the pandemic, now is that time for us to continue that welcoming tradition.
Trump administration has capped the number of refugees allowed into the United States for the fiscal year 2020 at 18,000, which is an all-time low. DACA recipients and their families are anxiously awaiting the Supreme Court's decision that could potentially end the program. For some, facing this roller coaster of emotions can take a heavy toll, which is why Arizona organizations like Aliento and the Arizona Dream Act Coalition are offering resources to recipients and their families.
It was important for us to share information with care and compassion and empathy. So we developed these toolkits that we shared across our different educational institutions.
Aliento, the grassroots organization Reina Montoya leads, is providing resources and help like legal and financial guidance, as well as workshops dedicated to mindfulness.
I think right now I'm feeling uncertain, worried, but also hopeful, weirdly enough.
Montoya says access to a therapist isn't always possible, leaving the mental health of immigrant families overlooked.
I think that it's so important to provide this context because that really inspired me, and it really felt like a big responsibility to understand all the emotions that not only DACA recipients but mixed status families are going through, and this uncertainty, this constant levels of anxiety and stress.
Attorney Daniel Rodriguez says he advises DACA clients to renew their permits despite the uncertainty ahead. If the program is struck down by the Supreme Court, renewing still gives a time extension, with recipients not immediately being deported. He says this does help in alleviating some anxiety.
Depending on how the order goes down, it may still be valuable to pay for this renewal now if it means you get an additional year of protection.
Immigration advocacy organizations pushing for a more permanent solution gives DACA students hope for a better future. In Phoenix, Abigail Verwick, Cronkite News.